Mm. So, just on that, were you listening to much progressive rock at the time, or?
I had, I did have an interest in that, but I can't say that it was the mainstream of what I used to listen to. In fact, I used to just listen to anything. I was just thirsty to want to know what other people were doing, and the best of it I would listen over and over to, and particularly if I couldn't understand how a musician or a group of musicians were coming up with something that I didn't quite penetrate. I couldn't penetrate. How do they come up with that? Which I admired, and I would just listen and listen until, I get it. I see where they're coming from. But I did used to work at a studio before I moved into Hertfordshire and now have my own studio, which is some years now. But the main studio I used to work at in London was called Advision. It's no longer there. It was on a small street just behind Portland Place. It's called Gosfield Street. And two of the groups that used to record there was Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Right.
And aside from bumping into them in the loo or the kitchens and say hello and all that, I used to listen to their music. Again, it was the sort of music that it wasn't just fresh. It was, it sort of released you, I think, as a musician to go, in directions that whatever you felt.
Mm.
That's what it meant to me. Um, After that, I'm sure there's a whole range of artists from that prog rock world, but those were two that during the particular time when I guess prog was breaking through, that not only did I love the music that they were producing, but working in a studio
Getting
where
to see it firsthand,
two of them
yeah.
were there.
Yeah. I've heard that you also did some work with Rick Wakeman as well, when he did the sort of prog rock version of the Planets suite.
Yes, we did, but we didn't work together.
Oh, right, okay.
What it was that the project came about with another musician who had moved to Australia, and he was in a group here. Then Kevin Peake, a guitarist, a very talented guitarist, and he moved to Australia and decided he wanted to put a new slant on the Planet suite.
Right.
In Holtz, what an incredible composition. And he asked Rick and I to do a top and a tail, so to speak. And mine was what started the piece off, and Rick's ended it. So, yes, we did. It's sort of like saying we went to different schools together.
Right.
We just weren't in the same school, but we somehow knew each other
yeah.
and did something together. But that was the background to the Planets. And but what interestingly did happen was that Rick, as a keyboardist, and I think it must have been, we never talked about it specifically, but he used to play keyboards on some of my commercials and TV themes.
Right.
And many years later, he wound up doing a TV series that he was the presenter on.
Right.
And he invited me on his show, and it was very informal, sort of like we're talking, and we're just rambling on our memories of our lives, careers, and came to him reminding me, in fact, do you remember that commercial I came in and played organ on, and it all came back to me. I said, my gosh, you earned a lot of dosh out of my commercials. No, he's a real gentleman and very quirky.
Right.
What a musician as well.